yeah, so welcome back to the Mustang vlog. Now the Mustang vlog was usually just, I wanted it to be just something I just put the GoPro in the car and I just talked. Now the problem was they never really did that good, so I never really ever just kept doing them. I was like, alright, it's not doing that good, alright, no one really cares, or yeah, so I never did them. But now I do a 30-month challenge thing, daily videos. Now I'm starting to do them again because I need some content to put out. So the way these are going to work basically randomized every, maybe once a week, twice a week, maybe, all depends on, you know, if I have some good content be able to push out or not on the 3 months. So yeah, all depends on that. What I'm doing today, basically I'm just driving down to go to my grandparents' house. This is on for the day, for a few hours, 3 hours, something like that. I got some at my boss's house. I love my jacket. It's like, let's stop there and get my jacket, but other than that, going down there, you probably go and go take a look at the boat, make sure that thing's still floating because we have it in the water. We haven't really, we're not taking it out this year because I think you just really feel like paying the price of the dock boats and on the land. Because no one knows, owning a boat is a very, very expensive hobby to have. Let's say that. If you ever want to get into the boat business or get into the boat hobby, start with a jet ski. I tell everyone this, every one of my friends. A boat is nothing but headaches. DOAT, break out in our 1,000. That is almost true to the T, especially if you have a big boat. A big boat always requires another 1,000 every year, maybe 2,000 every year. It really all depends. Oh yeah, so it's like it costs about like probably $1,500 to dock the boats up on the land for us. My grandma had like a 30-foot boat or something. He has like a 31-foot boat. We had a 28-foot boat, which was actually my grandfather. He built that boat. Didn't build it from scratch, but he bought it. He redid a lot of things on it. He put new engines in it, bigger engines, 350s. It had 305s originally, which is a 5.0. In Chevy language, it's 305. I don't know. Yeah, 305. Or I think people call it 302. If I'm not mistaken, it could be 302. But I think it's 305. He put 350s in it, which is a 5.7 liter engine. He redid the entire inside. He put fridge. He did all new electrical, everything. He redid the rudders, this, that, props, straps, everything. So I think he wanted to sell it, but I don't think he wanted to sell it. So he gave it to us. So it was my dad's, my boat. My dad, you know, he took care of the finances of it, and I took care of basically all the mechanics of it. So we both piloted the boat. We both were captains of the boat. We both knew how to drive it. I took it out every once in a while, and my dad took it. Well, usually when he took it out, you know, I was with him. So yeah, so that was an agreement between me and him. It's all I'll work on the boat, and then he'll finance the boat. So that was the good thing about that deal. But that boat sadly had some issues. Eventually, we put a bilge pump on it. Sadly, the bilge pump we bought it killed the battery, and the boat almost sunk. But let's say that the boat was half filled with water, and salt water batteries don't mix, and basically the salt water went over the batteries and literally burned the batteries. It burned, like they boiled, like the water was probably boiling in the boat at some point, because these things literally fried the cables, fried everything, got new batteries, and it got the engine hook go back up, and the left engine wouldn't crank right, and it would never run right. It blew a piston or something, it blew a piston ring, don't ask me how or what. It did a lot of weird things to the boat, and it became just too much money to want to invest into it, so we eventually sold it for like $2,000 or something like that. We did a little deal also with, I think, maybe made $1,000 plus the summer plus winter it was there, so whatever it was, we got rid of it. It's gone. It's bye-bye. But yeah, so it's an expensive thing to keep. That's it. It's about, we didn't have our own slip for that boat, so we had to pay, well, we got a good deal, $800 for a slot, which usually, I think it's usually like a couple, like $800 a month for a slot, usually, to dock a boat, usually. Don't quote me on that, it could be more than that, to be honest, or maybe like $1,500, $3,000 for a season, depending on where you go and stuff like that. We never paid, we always had our own slots, or we knew someone that could dock a slot, which is why we got it for so cheap. So yeah, so boat's very expensive. My grandfather, it's in the water, it's in our slip, so it's free in the slip, and basically you just gotta check out, make sure it's a sink, basically. That's really all goes onto it. Make sure you winterize the engine so that doesn't freeze in Jersey, since we have freezing weather. We had like a good 2 weeks of freeze, so it would have frozen me and winterized it, but all done, that's all finished. But yeah, so if you guys are ever looking to get a boat, be aware you're gonna have lots of money to drain into these things because they're not cheap hobbies to have, and it's not a cheap toy to have either. It's much as simple as it sounds. Hey, the boat floats, the boat goes on the water. But guess what? Boats are made for the water, but they're not meant for the water. They're salt water plus metal plus electricity is no good for anything. So just remember that. Boats are made to go to the water, but they're never meant to go in the water. I'll put it like that. So, cheapest thing I think anyone should get in order to begin with the boat hobby is jet ski because it's simple. You can trailer it. You can keep it on marina on a dock. You can keep it like on one of those like floating dock things they have, or you trailer it. One or the other, whatever which one fits you best. And also, all you have to do to it is rinse the jet ski out, hook a hose to the back. After you're done using it, flush the thing out. All right, she's all flushed out, no salt water in it to rot it out. Clean it off with a hose. You're done. You're done. You leave for the day, come back, and go use it again, repeat. Now, the only maintenance you have to do with your jet ski is usually an oil change. Every so often, you have little things like, throttle cables may break, this, that, depending on what year you get, but, it's better than a boat. Whatever you do with a boat, it's always going to be 10 times more. It's going to be twice as expensive as a jet ski. The jet ski's already, to work on a jet ski, yes, it's expensive to work on a jet ski. If you do the work yourself, you save yourself a hell of a lot of money, but it is expensive to even get them worked on. So make sure you have enough money to even get into the hobby itself, because if you don't, you're gonna find yourself in a pickle when something breaks or something like that. So always have a side of like $2,000 on the side, just in case like a motor blows. If you do the work yourself, $2,000 is perfect. Because motor blows, all right, pay $1,000 to get whatever. I think it's like $2,000 to get a motor. Maybe it's $3,000 for a motor, but at least you have $2,000 on the side. You only gotta worry about getting $1,000 now to get a whole new motor if you didn't want to rebuild the original one, or and it's like totally devastated, like ours was. Ours was totally devastated, blew a hole in the side of the cylinder, so it was not reusable. So we had to go a whole new block and everything. So $30,000 down the drain right there. But other than that, I've rebuilt a motor. We rebuilt this motor before, and it had silly to me, accidentally I put a paper towel inside the hole. Like a gear grabbed it as we were working on it, and it pulled into the engine without anyone realizing it. And when I saw it not there, I figured out my grandfather took it out because we were both working on it at the time. And took it out for a test ride. Yeah, let's say this: oil was getting sucked up, but wasn't coming back down. It was just getting stuck in the whole entire engine. To the point, and it wouldn't show on the dipstick. There'd be no oil on it. So then you fill it up, bring it back out, it's all gone until eventually, when the motor is literally overfilled with oil, it would literally blow the oil through the intake and literally smoke out the bay. It was literally, it's like a smoke bomb goes off, and it's like, found the oil. So eventually I speculated, well, there was a napkin that wasn't there. I'm like, oh shoot, and then I took some things apart. I saw some napkin particles, and little do you know it, there was a napkin on the filters of the oil pump area, and caught all the debris, thankfully. But bad mistake. Don't leave a napkin in the engine. No good. It does not go very well for anything. So as long as you don't do anything stupid, you're pretty good. If you only other maintenance there really is to a jet ski, other than other things that can go wrong, kind of may need maintenance done to it, is every year you gotta grease the bearing inside the jet ski pump. Basically, you pull the pump off, held in by 4 bolts or nuts, one or the other. It all depends on the jet ski. To take off the linkage, which is just not bolt also, which is not that complicated. It's not complicated at all to get off. And take it out. You pop the one thing off, which is 4 bolts also, which is simple, just nozzle. And then after that, you have the little cone. You take an Allen wrench, you screw out the 3 things, you push the thing off of it. Take the old grease out, pack new grease in, put it back on, and she's good to roll it for the next year again. Now, you can probably do it every 2 years, maybe, but it's always good to do it every year just in case if there's an issue, you can at least catch it early. Because you don't want water in there, and water can accidentally leak in there, and you catch it early enough, you don't have to replace the whole entire bearings and replace the whole thing and have a whole devastating corrosion thing inside of there and have to replace the whole $400 housing. So, you just grease that every year, you don't worry about it. You see something wrong, you replace seals, and you're good to go. And I'm gonna give you an example for boat maintenance, just because I don't think I really gave a full example of boat maintenance. So for my 28-foot boat, I had sinks. Now sinks, what they do is basically the water and the metal on your boat create electricity. Electrolysis, I call it, on boats. and it actually eats the metal on your boat because it creates a battery. Basically, the salt and the water plus the metal, it creates battery, and what happens is it eats at the metal. So you put these things called zinc, and I think in what do you call it? In freshwater you use aluminum, I think. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but that's possible. You put zinc. You put zinc on everything that's metal, or nowadays, usually now they have wires that go to all the metal parts, and they have it contacting, and it goes on one giant zinc in the back. It's like $200. That's for one giant zinc, or $100 for a zinc. I forget. It's a lot of money for this big zinc. My grandfather has it on his boat. I forgot how much he said, but it's either $2 in total or $200 per big zinc. But in my boat, we had a bunch of little ones that all the metal stuff has zincs on it, the shafts did and everything, blah blah. So he has zinc on the shaft. He has two shafts, so yeah, two engines. So a zinc there, two zincs on the one zinc on each water port on the bottom of the boat that sucks the water up for cooling the engines, the toilet, and stuff like that. So each one of those had a zinc on there. We had zinc on our swim tabs. We had zinc on our rudders that's near the boat. The trim tabs are basically what helps push the boat up and down, and helps you determine how to make the glide easier on the water. A quick example of that trim tab is. And I think that's really all the zincs we had. But that's what 2, 4, 6, 8. That's at least 8 zincs that we had on the boat when we had to replace it. Each zinc is about $12. So that's like $96. Well, actually, no, and everything is differently called. So I think actually after the good ages, it was like $20 per zinc. So you're gonna spend around $100 to $200 on zincs on that boat. That's the truth of it all. So that's not including the paint you get for the bottom of the boat if you're leaving in the water. That's not including gas, which gas was $800 a tank, which we never filled it up honestly, but $800 a tank. Anything that would go wrong with the boat, which every year, like I said, boats are not meant to go. They're made for the water, but not meant to go in the water. Metal and salt water don't mix, and you always have to replace an alternator or some type of wire thing. Something electrical may get corroded, you gotta fix it, you gotta find it, Batteries every 4 years, and the batteries nowadays are like $100, $200, so it's a lot. It's a lot of money. Every year it builds up to be a lot of money. Always happens. And also you gotta worry about certain, So yeah. So that's a little into boating, and like I said, I think that's just gonna be the topic of this driving with cars, and I'm probably not ending it here because I'm almost to my grandparents' house. So I end it here. Like I said, if you guys give me some topics you guys want to hear about, comment down below. I'd like to know. And if you guys have any questions about owning a boat, or any questions about boats, jet skis, and things, I'll give you my best expertise, opinion I have, or knowledge I have. I'll definitely give it to you. So just comment down below what you need help with, or what you want to see in these vlogs, or talk about in these vlogs. Comment down below, like I said, once again, for the third time, fourth time, I just said that. Leave a like on the video if you're going to enjoy this, or want to see more of these. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.